Alright guys, we got a spicy one today, as this one can be a bit controversial. I don't think my stance is that controversial really, but I guess we'll see. So what am I going to be talking about today? I'm going to be talking about the difference between winning and improving. Now you might say, well, Mr. Awake, those are like the same thing. No, okay, no, they're not the same thing in my opinion, alright? So I believe that there are basically two ways to go about playing PvP. Well, more than two, but we're going to be talking about two today. You can play to win, or you can play to improve at the game, right? I get asked this all the time. What weapon should I use in a Crucible, or what loadout do you recommend? Well, my response is usually, well, it depends. Do you want to improve, or do you want to do better on the scoreboard? Like, do you want to become a better player, or do you just want to win and do better, right? Because those are different. Now, here's why they're different. Let's say you're playing Trials and you're spamming Omnioculus, you're going invisible like every other 1 second, and then you sit there invisible and this guy walks up to you. He doesn't even know you're there. He's not even paying attention because his radar is blank, and you just Lord of Wolves him right in the face, right? He doesn't even know you're there, okay? Now, are you gonna win this game? Yeah, probably. You'll probably go like 10-0, right? You're not even gonna die. You're gonna have a crazy game every time, unless they're doing the same thing back, right? Are you gonna win? Yes. Now, are you going to improve? No, probably not, okay? Just in my opinion, something like shooting someone while you're invisible and they don't even know you're there, that's not gonna help you become a better player, right? Now, and I can't stress this enough, there's nothing wrong with playing like that, okay? Use whatever you want, who cares? Just ignore anyone who complains about it. No matter what you use, somebody's gonna complain. I use a sniper, I get complaints all the time, right? Just use whatever, okay? Just ignore it. Everyone's gonna hate on you no matter what you do. If you kill them, they're gonna complain, right? So just ignore it. Anyway, I just use Omni Lord of Wolves as the example because that's the current Crucible thing, okay? So if you happen to be in a slump and you feel like you've sort of plateaued as a player, or you're not really improving, and you look and you see that, well, you're running Lord of Wolves this season, and then last season you're using main ingredient, and before that it was Lawrence Driver or Vex or Shatter Dive or whatever, you know, the list goes on. Then I would say you've more so been playing to win rather than to improve, right? Again, nothing wrong with using whatever you want. I totally get that, okay? Now, for me personally, I really don't care if I win a Trials match, right? I'm being honest, unless I need the gun or I'm trying to help someone, I'm not really playing to win. I'm just trying to improve or just have a good time, or sort of work on my gun skill, hitting my shots, sort of position better, maybe learn the map, things like that, right? I'm trying to improve. So how would I recommend playing to improve? Well, my first recommendation would be to stay away from whatever the current meta thing is that's OP, right? Like, if you're running around with Classy Restoration and a Lawrence Driver or whatever, again, nothing wrong with that. Can't say that enough. Yeah, you're going to be popping off, right? But you're also going to build really bad habits, okay? Something like Classy Restoration or running like Worm Husk or something, that will completely destroy your game sense, right? You will be so used to just dodging or pushing something that's not smart, and then you'll just heal, all right? But you can't always do that, right? One, you might not always be playing a hunter, and obviously that's all gonna get nerfed, right? The way this game works is that any OP thing, yeah, it's gonna be OP for a really long time, but eventually it will get nerfed and it'll just get replaced by some new OP thing, right? That's sort of how it works. But anyway, you're gonna build bad habits doing this, and you're not really gonna improve. So I have two loadouts that I would recommend to use as far as playing to improve goes. And I'm gonna break them up into what you want to practice, right? So if you want to practice like your mechanical skill, right, your aim, your movement, things like that, I'm going to recommend that for your primary, you use a hand cannon, and for your secondary, you use a shotgun, right? I know, real original. This is because out of all the primaries, hand cannons are probably the hardest to use, right? None of the guns in this game are extremely hard to use compared to other shooters, but hand cannons are probably the hardest ones to use as far as hitting your shots go. I would stay away from something like a pulse rifle, right? That's just because, I'm gonna be honest, they're very easy to use, right? It's super easy to hit shots with the pulse rifle, and you can sort of stand in the back of the map and you can just shoot people that don't even see you because you're not on their radar, or they can't shoot back because they don't have the right gun, right? And hand cannons will sort of force you to be like front and center, like in the thick of it, right? Again, we're trying to challenge ourselves to sort of land more shots. We're trying to improve. We're not just trying to win. We're not just trying to put up better numbers right now. Now, as far as shotguns go, honestly, this one could probably be replaced with something else, but I do think shotgun's probably the best one. And that's just because shotguns are honestly kind of bad right now, right? Pellet shotguns, at least. They've been nerfed over and over and over again, so they're kind of in a rough spot. And my thought process is that if you're able to properly use your shotgun, it will definitely teach you how to use other weapons, right? If you can kill someone with a shotgun and you master it, you'll have no problem killing someone with the fusion rifle, right? Shotguns, even though they don't take a ton of aim, they take more aim than something like a fusion rifle, right? Shotguns are hard to use. You have to get very close to make them work. So it'll help with your sort of movement, right? Shotguns involve a lot of movement. That's where the sort of the skill gap comes with shotguns. So basically my thought process is that once you master using a shotgun and a hand cannon, as far as hitting your shots go and your movement, once you do switch back to like your pulse rifle or whatever, maybe like using an auto rifle or scout rifle, once you switch back to whatever you normally use, you'll find that it's so much easier than using the hand cannon, and your shots will just land. You'll be so much better, I promise, as far as mechanical skill goes. If you want to work on positioning in particular, I have a different loadout that I would recommend. This would be to use an SMG as your primary and a sniper as your secondary. This is because of the way that range works in this game. Now, if you have an SMG, you will just completely destroy anyone in the right range, right? If you're close enough, you will just shred them. It doesn't matter. They stand no chance unless they have an SMG as well, right? But if you're too far away, you will just get shredded. There's nothing you can do either. Your SMG will not even hit them. So you have to learn to position yourself to be close enough, get your SMG to work, far enough away from something like a shotgun. It'll force you to learn that positioning. The same goes for snipers. Are snipers strong? Yeah, snipers are super strong and probably the strongest weapon in the game once you sort of master it. But what makes them difficult to use isn't even really the aim. They're not even that hard to hit your shots. They're hard to position, especially if you're playing something like 6v6. You'll just spend most of your time running away from radar ping. You're not even gonna see people and you're gonna be like, oh, I have to run. Just because, like I said, how range works. If someone gets too close to you with a shotgun or whatever, you're just dead no matter what. There's nothing you can do. You'll have to learn to read your radar and really position. I spend most of my games just running away as a sniper. It gets really boring after a while. That's why I don't snipe that often in 6v6. So the combination of these two things will really force you to learn positioning. Once you learn how to position with something like a shotgun or an SMG, you'll find that when you switch to a fusion rifle, it doesn't matter where you really position. It'll be so much easier. You can just zap anyone, really. As long as you're not too far away, you can just zap them, okay? You'll find that it'll be so much easier for you since you've built really good habits using those other weapons. Same thing with the pulse rifle. You'll switch back to a pulse rifle or whatever, and you'll be like, wow, I can sit further back. I'm not even in danger, and it kills faster. Like, for some reason, pulse rifles also kill faster than hand cannons, and it flinches more, and the shots are way easier to land. Like, you'll just be like, wow, you'll think it's OP, honestly. So definitely give these loadouts a try, and I mean a serious try. If you've never used these guns or you don't use them that often, you're gonna put it on, and you're probably gonna have a bad time. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna do a lot worse than you normally do. It's gonna be frustrating, but I promise if you stick it out, you'll definitely improve once you sort of master these loadouts. And I mean, like, give it like a month or even a season would be my recommendation. You have to really commit to these and really sort of get it down. My recommendation would be to take whatever stats you have now, and when you switch to these weapons, they're gonna drop, and do it until you get the same stats that you had before. So if like your normal seasonal KD, let's say you're like a 0.9, every season you're normally around a 0.9, and you put this hand cannon shotgun on and you go to like a 0.6, okay, for that one season. Do it until you get back to a 0.9, okay, with your hand cannon and shotgun. And once you do that and you switch back to whatever you normally use, I guarantee it'll be more than 0.9. Just the way it works, you'll just have so much better understanding and sort of game sense, because not only did you use these weapons and sort of own all the skills we already talked about, you'll learn how they work, so when you run into other people using them, you'll have a better understanding of what their strengths and weaknesses are too. So anyway, that's about all I really have. Like I said, a couple things I want to stress again. Use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying you have to use these weapons or you're bad, okay? I know the community for this game is not the nicest, but just ignore it. Believe it or not, sniping is extremely hated at the higher levels of the game. I get hate all the time just for the weapon I use. Just ignore it, man. I know it sucks. People are rude. Just, it's whatever. Use whatever you want. But these are my recommendations for if you want to improve. Again, it's going to be rough at first, but I promise down the line, you'll definitely improve. So that's all I have. Like I said, I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you next time.